Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. May we all please be seated? Thank you. Once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before we start with the celebrations for today, we would like to play a short video for you.
In the Indian Ocean region, it is a special fund project of the Indian Ocean Rim Association. The research focuses specifically on emerging projects that advance both conservation and cultural preservation. This research is inspired by work conducted under the Saatchi Chair Ocean Cultures and Heritage, a national research foundation project in South Africa. The project in question is entitled the Blue Values Journey Project, and it seeks to support coastal communities and to develop both cultural and commercial resilience in a time of climate change. A deep concern of the project is poverty alleviation and the role that the conservation of biodiversity can play in alleviating poverty and supporting employment in local communities. 2 villages in Lamu, Kenya were identified for the research. These villages are Kipungani and Matondoni. Matondoni village to us was a place of phenomenal potential, and we artistically re-envisioned it, how changing the landing site of a coastal community can open it up to leisure tourism in the Delta. Honey is one of Earth's ancient natural heritages. In various global religions, honey is revered for its spiritual and healing properties. Lamu, Kenya is predominantly Muslim, and the Quran identifies the bee as the servant of God and honey as one of the elixirs of life. Interestingly, the word elixir associated with honey also comes from Arabic, elixir, and was only used from the 7th century AD when the religion spread beyond the Arabian Peninsula. Our research results show that in Kipungani, Lamu, there is possibility to advance gender empowerment. Women there need financial management and business management training, as well as product development and marketing. They need to be able to design the labels for their honey jars and to obtain seed investment in the purchase of jars for their product.
Kuonelea kwanza hii asali ni kwanza hali ya uchumi sasa iko juu. Sasa kama sisi wanawake tukaonelea itakuwa ni mbinu mbadala ya kuingiza pesa nyumbani kusaidiana na waume zetu ama mababa zetu, mama zetu, yani tutakuwa tusaidiana. Ndio tukapenda huu mradi. Na kisha pia hii asali ni dawa kwetu sisi, kwa watoto wetu, sisi wenyewe pia ni dawa. Sasa sisi tulikuwa tuachukulia hunyuki ni mnyama mbaya na ni hatari, lakini tulipopata mafundisho tuliona yani ako sawa, ni mpaka umchokoze na mtu kuwa mtu mbaya mpaka umguse naye kuguse. Kiwa umgusi naye hakuguse, hana shida. Kibinafsi ni dawa, ya pili yaleta kuwa na nguvu mwilini, ya tatu ni pia ni appetizer chakula, tuseme kama jam kwa mikate tutumia.
Research results also show important opportunities for shared business acumen and cooperation between honey producers in False Bay in the Western Cape province of South Africa and Lamu, Kenya. Interestingly, the honey producers and users in False Bay are also women, and thus there is a possibility for gendered collaboration and upliftment.
But I absolutely love this area. And as a farm girl, this is the only farming that you can actually do in this area is beekeeping, because I mean it's World Heritage right around you, so you can't really cultivate anything. And at least that is also a way of contributing to nature without taking anything away or changing anything. What do you call it? A co-working agreement, respect.
Yes, yeah.
You know, to make it practical for both of you, for the bee and for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think something that maybe is a misperception out there is a beekeeper don't harm his bees, in the sense of it is very important to the beekeeper that the hive is healthy, because if the hive suffer, you don't benefit from it. So the beekeeper will always make sure that his bees have enough honey.
The research project is showcasing the importance of the value chain in sustainability. The mangrove honey producers are firstly active in the rehabilitation of mangroves. By restoring the mangroves, they're also contributing to the production of wood necessary for traditional sailing vessels known as dhows in the area. The audiovisual research that we have done for this project promotes the tangible and intangible cultural heritage of sailing and of dhow building and mangrove honey production, as well as ecological tourism in the region. The South African findings in False Bay were that the honey producers are more tightly integrated into a sustainable circle of production and use. We also found that there were other places which had similar potential, and we hope to advance the research in this regard.
In my culture, we say madume afele, meaning there is no limit on the number of times someone can greet. I would therefore like to take the opportunity to say good afternoon once more. My name is Dr. Ntabeling Mako from the Department of Applied Management in UNISA's College of Economic and Management Sciences. It is a pleasure and honor for me today to be your co-program director.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tarimunjezi. I'm with the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, a true collaboration between UNISA and DIRCO in display together with the diplomatic community. I'm attached to Ubuntu Radio as well, which is broadcasting this important program and celebration today, and also with Ubuntu Radio and also UNISA Radio as well.
In our midst today, we have Professor Puleng Lenkabula, Principal and Vice Chancellor of the University of South Africa, Prof. Anil Suklal, who is our keynote speaker, ambassadors and high commissioners representing various countries to South Africa, management and staff of the Asia and Middle East branch, friends, family, college management, you are all welcome.
Thank you very much. And as you are aware, the vision of IORA, the Indian Ocean Rim Association, originated during the visit by President Nelson Mandela, the alumni of this university, together with myself as well, being an alumni. I didn't originate the idea, though. I'm just mentioning that I'm an alumni. And also, this was back in 1995. So the establishment of IORA in 1997 really marking an important chapter as far as the socio-economic cooperation of the Indian Ocean region is concerned.
27 years later, IORA has established itself into the apex of regional organization in the Indian Ocean region, stretching from the southern and eastern coast of Africa, running up to the Gulf, South and Southeast Asia, including Australia and the Eastern Indian Ocean. I can safely say my high school geography has come to work today.
That's very important. As you are aware, the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, importantly, the work is to implement South Africa's foreign policy, and as Chapter 7 of the National Development Plan instructed us to make these collaborations possible with the collaboration with the academic world as well.
Our collaboration with DIRCO is an important strategic function for the university and what we believe is an investment for the future. Through the leadership of Professor Lenkabula, our Principal and Vice Chancellor, the university has identified 10 catalytic niche areas, amongst them marine studies, energy, natural sciences, for study theorization, which tie in very well with the Indian Ocean Rims Association. Today, in celebration of IORA, with discussions around the theme Enhancing Sustainable Indian Ocean for Future Generations, Our Ocean, Our Life, I would like to call upon Professor Puleng Lenkabula, Principal and Vice Chancellor of the University of South Africa, to deliver the official welcome and opening address.
Good morning. Good morning. No, it's afternoon. I just needed to check if the energy in the room is entwined with the time. Yeah. I won't see you. Maybe here. This way, so that they can see you. They won't see you that side. Yeah. Maybe you stand. So this side won't see you. Will they see you? Yeah. If you're here, If she's here, sorry, I don't want to mess your instructions. If she's here, they will not, so there won't be universal access. Thank you. Thank you very much. Program directors, thank you very much for your welcoming introductory remarks. Our sign language interpreter, Ms. Sophie Mabaso. Dr. Naledi Pondo, our Honorable Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, who is participating virtually and not with us. Your Excellencies, ambassadors, and high commissioners representing various countries and members of states of IORA, members of the University Executive and Extended Management present here this afternoon, His Excellency Ambassador Saleh Omar Abdu, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps in the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Professor Anil Suklal, Ambassador at Large for Asia and BRICS, His Excellency Mr. Sumida Mendes, Acting High Commissioner of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, who's also the chair of IORA, His Excellency Ambassador Salman Al-Farisi, Ambassador of Indonesia to South Africa, His Excellency Mahash Saeed Al-Hameli, Ambassador of United Arab Emirates, His Excellency Mr. Zanel Arif Manta, High Commissioner of Singapore, His Excellency Ms. Volo Miora Lalinira Rabarijoana, Charge d'Affaires Madagascar. I'm very proud that I could pronounce that. His Excellency Mr. Pramajit Vai Luchnam, High Commissioner of Mauritius, His Excellency Mr. Ali I. Kathiri, Ambassador of Oman, His Excellency Mr. Ambassador Yong Dong-han, Ambassador of South Korea, His Excellency Mr. El Dube, Minister Plenipotentiary of the Embassy of Zimbabwe, Professor Kevin Means, UNISA Department of Environmental Sciences, all members of the business community, university students, the primary stakeholder of the university, and all participants of this important event virtually. Welcome to the University of South Africa on this important day where we commemorate the establishment of the Indian Ocean Rim Association, IORA. We appreciate your presence as we celebrate this important milestone. Our country, South Africa, is blessed to be surrounded by two oceans, the Atlantic Ocean and the Indian Ocean. One of the requests that the scientists at UNISA would have made is the rethinking of the Indian Ocean name to think about it as the Indian and Africa Ocean, given the expansive distance that Africa covers. So this is one of the debates that in the academic arena we would like to entertain. We are surrounded by both the cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean, the warm waters of the Indian Ocean. Some have suggested that we call that, because of this expanse land of our continent, of the warm ocean, that we should be members, we should appreciate our membership. The vision for IORA originated during a visit, as my colleague has already said, from DIRCO, of the late First Democratic Republic President Mandela, who is also an alumnus of this important university. He made the following remark at this event, I quote, "The natural edge of the facts of history and geography should broaden itself to include the concept of the Indian Ocean Rim for socio-economic cooperation and other peaceful endeavors." The sentiment and rationale underpinned the Indian Ocean Rim Initiative in March 1995 and the creation of the Indian Ocean Rim Association, then known as the Indian Ocean Rim Association for Regional Cooperation. 2 years later, on 7th March 1997, as UNISA, we're particularly proud and delighted that our alumnus, the eminent visionary leader, President Mandela, set out the origins, the vision, and the foundations of this important association. And we are grateful for the partners that saw it imperative to ensure the continuity of this important milestone. His legacy for South Africa and for the world is quite important to be celebrated, particularly at this moment when our country celebrates 30 years of its freedom, of its democracy, but also of the support and solidarity that we would have gotten from our neighbors and friends. Program directors, as we celebrate the 27th anniversary, we are pleased to point out that our university, observing a long year celebrations of 150 of our anniversary, is quite appreciative because we are the first university in the world to see distance as an enabling arena for knowledge and to making higher education accessible. We are very happy that this model has been drawn by varied countries and institutions to ensure that higher education is particularly supported. We are also appreciative that the importance of regional collaboration between the 23 member states and the 12 dialogical partners has become an important celebratory point for our university, but also for our country. The member states are already known. They are Commonwealth of Australia, the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, Federal Republic of Somalia, the French Republic, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Kingdom of Thailand, Malaysia, the People's Republic of Bangladesh, the Republic of India, the Republic of Indonesia, the Republic of Kenya, the Republic of Madagascar, the Republic of Maldives, the Republic of Mauritius, the Republic of Mozambique, the Republic of Seychelles, the Republic of Singapore, the Republic of South Africa, the Republic of Yemen, and the Sultanate of Oman, the Union of Comoros, the United Arab Emirates, and United Republic of Tanzania. And we all know as partners that we include our dialogical partners who are China, Egypt, Germany, Italy, Japan, the Republic of Korea, Russia, Turkey, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America, Saudi Arabia, and the European Union, which recently became the 12th partner. The three objectives that have always been identified for IORA are quite important for us as a university: the sustainable growth, balanced development of the region, the economic cooperation with maximum opportunities being optimized and shared interest being supported, the promotion of liberalization, and the lowering of impediments or barriers. So we as the university really consider it a privilege and an exceptional opportunity for our university to hosting you this afternoon. We are particularly proud that with so many profound historic changes in the world then and now, IORA has evolved quite rightly to be a vital institution of deep ties amongst a number of states. We are also, in the recent past, have expressed interest in strengthening as a university our knowledge capabilities and resources towards marine studies and the ocean economy. We realize that as part of our 10 catalytic niche areas that the program directors have already spoken about, the disciplines of marine sciences, oceanography, marine ecologies, marine businesses, and ecosystems processes associated are quite important for IORA, as they are for our university, and the requisite knowledge skills are required for us to be competitive as a multinational environment, as it would be the case with a university that's committed and that is centered with multi-campuses in the continent, but also outside. The college, our different colleges express interest in IORA value propositions and value chains. These are quite important because we see ourselves as the partner, as the knowledge partner in ensuring that our countries, but also our universities, are central to these important aspects. In terms of the Agenda 2063 of the African Union, alongside with the National Development Plan of South Africa and the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, we recognize the practical terms and association with IORA finds appropriate expression of these commitments and engagements with our university, but also with the knowledge arena. Through the varied environments in our university, and the idea of enhancing sustainable Indian Ocean for future generations. Our oceans are alive. We believe institutions of higher learning can partner to ensure that young people respond to IORA initiatives, tapping on the ongoing activities and co-designing future projects that are aligned with the objectives of IORA. We also want, as a university, to say we can partner to ensure that talent management plans and responsive aspects to niche areas are manifest, to provide in-depth academic and vocational training, to facilitate with countries, partner countries, collaboration between universities and TVET colleges to ensure that the work of IORA is meaningful to transforming our societies in the different regions, in the different countries. We also have extensive experience as a university to enabling countries to establishing higher education systems as UNISA, and we are truly committed to ensuring at the end of this important endeavor that we could collaborate in creating a center of excellence that IORA and its members can set up at UNISA to ensure that the work that you do continues to have support of the education sector. Finally, nationally, the Operation Pakisa, particularly Marine Pakisa, provides a rich platform for dialogue on ocean and rich resources and considered the 10th province, metaphorically, highlighting the economic weight and abundance of ocean resources. Numerous activities have focused on growth and development of the ocean economy. The vast ecologies, the aquaculture, marine manufacturing, oil, gas explorations, all these are areas that universities are quite elated to being participants in. Let me therefore conclude by saying you're welcome to the University of South Africa. The university committed to shaping futures collaboratively. The university that the students refer to as the University of the Land, the home of leaders, the home of Mandela, Mbeki, Ramaphosa, but many other leaders who have continued to contribute to this important agenda of the global arena. What is even more important, one of our ambassadors here from Sri Lanka is himself an alumni of UNISA. I think it deserves a round of applause. And Professor Suklal, also yourself, Ambassador, is also an alumnus of the University of South Africa. What it means is that UNISA is making an indelible mark in the global arena, becoming a partner to the imaginations of IORA as it does of South Africa, the continent, and the global arena. You're welcome. We're hopeful that the deliberations and the celebrations will yield important outcomes that will make this multinational environment to become a key anchor of socio-economic and ecological development in our continent and country. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, VC. I want to also confirm that I'm also an alumni. I can also call you my VC as well. So I'm really excited to also to be here today as well. We want to take this opportunity just to give you a reminder that for those who are monitoring social media, it's hashtag IORA Day celebration. And we're much more aware that we are at UNISA who celebrate 150. So hashtag UNISA 150 is also the hashtag to use as well to monitor what is also happening today. The platform also is also being broadcast on YouTube as well. So if you also on Ubuntu Radio, just to give you the reminder. I also continue with the program now. 2 years back, when IORA was celebrating 25 years, it's Silver Jubilee. I had a conversation on Ubuntu Radio with the Secretary General, who is the former ambassador to this country, and Ambassador Salman Al-Farisi as well, confirming that IORA Day celebration will not just be like a one-year event, but member countries have expressed interest that IORA Day will be celebrated by all member countries as well. So we're excited that UNISA has also agreed to be the host as well this year. So thank you so much. I want to give you a round of applause, VC, and your team as well. The Secretary General also joined us, sent us a video message as well to mark this day as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, my highest appreciation goes to South Africa for commemorating the 27th anniversary of IORA. We gather here to reflect upon the vision of President Nelson Mandela on IORA that extended far beyond the borders of South Africa, encompassing a global perspective and recognizing the significance of regional cooperation and collaboration. It is imperative that we strive to fulfill his vision of a more interconnected and prosperous region. Over the last 27 years, we have been witnessing how IORA has increasingly become a central component of regional architecture in the Indian Ocean region. We have developed some effective norm settings to address challenges and to manage resources in the Indian Ocean. We have also been working together in same path of history in contributing to regional capacity building. Furthermore, IORA continues fostering partnership with regional and international organizations on various common areas of cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, in this endeavor, South Africa plays a central role as a prominent member of IORA and steadfast advocate for regional cooperation. South Africa brings invaluable insight and expertise that guide our collective effort toward achieving the objective outlined in the IORA Charter. We also acknowledge South Africa's commitment to ensure that Indian Ocean serve as a catalyst for peace, stability, and shared prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, as we reflect on our journey, it becomes evident that despite progress, many LDCs and SIDS in our region still grapple with significant challenges in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. The persistent disparities underscore the urgent need for a renewed and concerted efforts within IORA to address these issues and pave the way for inclusive and sustainable development across the region. By harnessing the spirit of collaboration and innovation, we can unlock the full potential of the Indian Ocean for a brighter, peaceful, stable, and more prosperous future for generations to come. And IORA will never stop striving to make this aspiration into reality. Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, my highest appreciation goes to South Africa for commemorating the 27th anniversary of IORA. We gather here to reflect upon the vision of...
Thank you. Ambassador Al-Farisi has shared that South Africa plays a very central and invaluable role in providing insights and expertise. We will now virtually hear from Honorable Minister Dr. Naledi Pandor, who is the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of South Africa. She shares a special message with us to commemorate IORA International Day. This message highlights IORA as an important formation to enhance relations amongst IORA members and its dialogue partners. Thank you.
Farisi, Director General Zain Dango, Ambassador Anil Suklal, ladies and gentlemen, and all guests joining us today. It's my real pleasure to welcome you to the Indian Ocean Rim Association International Day celebrations of 2024. Today, we are more aware than ever before that our existence cannot be separated from the ocean's health. The fact that 40% of the world's population lives near coastal areas, more than 3 billion people utilize the oceans for their livelihood, and 80% of world trade is achieved using the seas, necessitates that we guard and preserve our oceans, an important remit of our organization, IORA. This year's celebration is a perfect fit for the theme of our IORA International Day 2024, which is Sustainable Indian Ocean for Future Generations, Our Ocean, Our Life. IORA has stood out as an important institution and a defining player in the Indian Ocean region, dealing decisively with issues concerning the Indian Ocean Rim. Our Secretary General of IORA, His Excellency Ambassador Al-Farisi, has provided sterling leadership of IORA in these trying times of major contestation over the oceans. The oceans, seas, and coastal areas contribute to food security and poverty eradication. And yet, our oceans are under severe threat from human activities, where economic profits are pursued at the expense of environmental degradation, acidification, pollution, ocean warming, eutrophication, and fishery collapse, these being just some of the examples of the consequences of abuse of the marine ecosystems. These threats are detrimental to our planet, and the long-term repercussions demand urgent action to protect the oceans and the people who depend on them. Allow me to express my gratitude to the Indian Ocean Rim Association, IORA, for facilitating the discussion around these important issues. South Africa is hard at work ensuring that we make every effort to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 14, which is sustainable use of the ocean. Allow me to quote our former president, Dr. Nelson Mandela, when he said, "The natural urge of the facts of history and geography should broaden itself to include the concept of an Indian Ocean Rim for socio-economic cooperation and other peaceful endeavors." Recent changes in the international system demand that the countries of the Indian Ocean shall become a single platform. Today, we have the opportunity to reflect on what we have achieved within our association and also assess its potential to become a zone of peace and development from which we can enhance opportunities in trade and further develop our nations and, for us, our beloved continent of Africa. I'm looking forward to a year where IORA member states will work closely to achieve a number of important goals, such as greener shipping methods, marine fuel use of renewable ammonia and methanol, maritime digitalization, marine cybersecurity, and port call optimization for our harbors. Importantly for us in South Africa, linked to the theme of 2024, is the need to work toward sustainable ship financing models that work not only for South Africa, but also for Africa. We need a bigger stake in the ocean's economy. I would like to underscore the significance of IORA International Day as it brings us together to celebrate the oceans and the life it breathes into our communities, our peoples, and our institutions. Our association should be the vehicle that brings relief from the challenges of the region and calm to our seas. I would also like to urge young scholars from our region, students and researchers, to continue researching the ocean's secrets in pursuit of lasting, sustainable development solutions. Allow me to take this opportunity to wish you all a pleasant and informative IORA International Day and reiterate that South Africa is committed to the ideals of the IORA region and working together with all member states. I would also like to congratulate our newly appointed chairs of the various working groups and hope that they will receive good cooperation from all of us. To our Secretary General and his hard-working team at the IORA Secretariat, I would like to compliment and commend you for the good work and the achievements of 2023. I sincerely hope that 2024 will be a great year for the IORA region, and I believe it will be under the leadership of our chair, Sri Lanka. To South Africa's IORA senior official, Ambassador Anil Suklal, it is indeed an honor to work closely with you as you lead South Africa's contribution to the IORA family. And I appeal to you, Ambassador, could you arrange the next International Day on a day on which I can attend the meeting personally and physically? I thank you all, and I wish you a successful celebration.
The message is quite clear, Ambassador. Indeed. Prof. Lenkabula, you'll be quite happy to know that the chair of the IORA academic group is also here as well. So the collaboration is indeed important for us as well. I'd like to take this opportunity as well to welcome to the podium the Ambassador, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Ambassador of Eritrea, Saling Omar Abdul, to come to the podium to deliver a message. Thank you.
Thank you, program directors. Good afternoon. Honorable Minister Dr. Naledi Pandor, Professor Pulen Lenkabula, Principal and Vice Chancellor of the University of South Africa, representatives from the universities of South Africa, deans and deputy deans at UNISA, Professor Ambassador Suklal, High Commissioner of Sri Lanka, Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, distinguished guests, fellow Africans, all protocol observed. Ladies and gentlemen, as the Eritrean Ambassador to South Africa and the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, it is a privilege and an honor to address today in observance of the International Day of the Indian Ocean Rim Association, IORA. Conversely, the engagement and celebration of the India-Brazil-South Africa initiative. I would like to express the Indian Ocean Rim Association is a vibrant intergovernmental organization that aims to improve regional cooperation and sustainable development within the Indian Ocean area through its 23 member states and 12 dialogue partners, if I am not mistaken, focusing on priority areas of cooperation, namely on maritime safety and security, disaster risk management, science and technology, and fisheries management, to mention a few. I hope IORA reaffirms its pledge by bringing gaps and sharing the destinies of member countries. We believe that South Africa, as a dedicated member of IORA, will play an important role in all committed as a diplomatic community to collaborating in order to advance maritime security, to facilitate commerce, combat piracy, and safeguard marine resources, because we believe it is vital that the safety and security of our maritime domain be maintained. The Indian Ocean Rim Association, as a platform, is designed to boost trade and investment between member nations and beyond. The Indian Ocean has enormous potential for expanded commerce and investment flows, as well as for the development of the blue economy. We see that South Africa is dedicated to working with IORA partners to create a more favorable climate for economic and environmental cooperation. As a diplomatic community in South Africa, we support and encourage sustainable development both within and between our member nations. Africa's ability to progress economically and as a collective depends on the health of the Indian Ocean. It is our sincere desire that participating nations will be decided to working together on projects that support environmentally friendly fishing methods, fight pollution, and tackle the effects of climate change. Putting money into education, training, and capacity building will enable the people living along the Indian Ocean Rim takes an active role so that the future generation can benefit from regional development. Ladies and gentlemen, as a diplomatic community, we anticipate the completion of our shared endeavors in order to ensure that the region has a peaceful, wealthy, and sustainable future. The Indian Ocean Rim Association will be essential. Africa is still a committed partner in this project, constructing cooperative bridges, exchanging information and resources, and cooperating to provide every country around in this great ocean a better future. In conclusion, I would like to lay emphasis that our today's gathering is not merely a celebration of the past achievements of IORA. It is indeed for a solemn pledge to safeguard the Indian Ocean for the well-being of our posterity. I thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency Ambassador Salih Omar Abdu. I do have to agree with you. What IORA has done today is very important. It's provided a venue and an avenue, not only to celebrate, but to have really important discussions around the things that matter to all of us. We now move on to our keynote address. And my fellow academics, I would first like to say to you, the keynote speaker, Professor Anil Suklal, has 2 doctorates. That alone deserves a round of applause. I will read his brief bio, which says that Professor Anil Suklal is the Ambassador at Large, Asia and BRICS at the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. He is also South Africa BRICS Sherpa, IBSA, India, Brazil, South Africa, Sherpa and focal point of IORA for regional cooperation. As I already mentioned, he has 2 doctorates from the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Ambassador Suklal served as Deputy Director General responsible for Asia and the Middle East at the Department of International Relations and Cooperation until 31 January 2022. In addition, Professor Suklal has published more than 20 articles in both national and international journals. He is the recipient of several fellowships and awards, including the Fellowship in Human Rights, United Nations Center for Human Rights, Geneva, 1993, amongst many others. Colleagues, dear friends, I ask you to please bring Professor Anil Suklal to the stage with a warm round of applause.
Thank you, program co-directors of program. To our host, our Vice Chancellor of UNISA, Professor Bula Lenka, to my boss, Dr. Pando, to our Secretary General of IORA, good friend and brother, Salman Al-Farisi. I must also acknowledge Dr. Mashaba, Acting Dean of College of Economic Management and Management Studies. I believe she's been very key to this co-hosting. I want to also acknowledge the chair of the IORA academic group, former colleague of mine, Dr. Kame Molope, also the chair of the IORA Business Council, good friend of mine, Noki Ndlovu, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, of course, Ambassador Saleh Omar, all of you know him very well. Our current chair of IORA, Charge d'Affaires of Sri Lanka, Mr. Mendes. Firstly, let me congratulate UNISA on its 150th anniversary. I think that's a major, major milestone. And UNISA has always been a beacon of light, even during the dark days of struggle. And it is indeed a legacy university. And Professor, you may not know this. I didn't have the privilege of being a student at this university, but I was a lecturer at this university. I began my academic career here in the Faculty of Theology as a lecturer, way back in 1984, becoming the so-called first Indian South African academic at this university, breaking new ground at a very difficult time. But it was this institution that nourished me. We were just 3 blacks in the Faculty of Theology in 1984, in this entire campus. But it was a breakthrough moment for this university, and I believe it also laid the path for my own academic career and subsequently diplomatic career. So I'm very grateful for this university and the opportunity it provided me. It was my launching pad in many ways. So, colleagues, I would like to first of all thank UNISA for partnering with the Department of International Relations in observing IORA Day. Now, my colleague Ben Jobe, who's the IORA focal point now, will always tell you that I've been a champion to try and raise the profile of IORA, not only in South Africa, but within the African continent and internationally. I've been very privileged that I've had a very long association as being the focal point of IORA, dating way back to 2000, almost at the early period of the formation of IORA. I was given this privilege to be South Africa's focal point. Now, I often think about why we created this organization. Yes, we have heard various speakers reflecting on the vision of President Mandela. But as I was thinking about this IORA Day today, I wondered what went through President Mandela's mind in 1995 when he was in India to suggest that we create an organization. Why did we need an organization that will bring the littoral states of this ocean of ours, the Indian Ocean, all together in one formation. Why didn't anyone think of this previously? Of course, in 1982, we had the founding of the Indian Ocean Commission, but the Indian Ocean Commission was on the initiative of France through its island state of Reunion to bring 5 island states together: Comoros, Reunion, Mauritius, Madagascar, into one form, and Seychelles into one formation, but basically looking at marine resources and how they could collaborate. But it was the vision of President Mandela. And I am sure that the significant part of his life that he spent in Robben Island, surrounded by the Indian Ocean, not being able to see it from his cell, nor being able to see it from the quarry where he spent the major part of his day, but hearing constantly the sound of the ocean, that would have nourished him. And in his moment of contemplation, during the significant period that he spent on Robben Island, the Indian Ocean must have shaped his thinking in many ways. And I'm sure that this must have also influenced him to say that we are of the Indian Ocean and we need to come together to see how we cooperate, collaborate, and fully explore the potential that this ocean has for us. So we needed someone, a visionary. We know he was a great leader, a great statesman, but he was also a visionary, because way back in 1995, we in the world community, we didn't pay enough attention to the ocean space. It wasn't in the mainstream of economic development. It was much later. In South Africa, it was only in 2014 that we launched Operation Pakisa, just 10 years ago. But President Mandela could see the value of the ocean and how much promise it has for us. We are fortunate in South Africa that we have 2 oceans washing our shores, the Atlantic and the Indian, close to 3,000 kilometers of coastline. And yet, when we were in 2013, in what we call the laboratory of Operation Pakisa, we were housed in Durban at the Riverside Hotel. I was part of that process to draw up a blueprint, which later became known as Operation Pakisa. Less than 3% of our GDP is derived from the oceans, and yet we have such a vast coastline of over 3,000 kilometers, and our exclusive economic zone is 1.5 million square kilometers. This is the richness of our country, virtually unexplored. We set a goal as South Africa in 2014 when we launched Operation Pakisa to move our ocean GDP from around less than 3% to about 6-7% by 2030. I'm not sure how well we are doing in achieving that goal. Professor mentioned the various laboratories that we agreed upon under Operation Pakisa to stimulate economic growth. But that's about South Africa. And I think when you speak about sustainable development, one needs to ask the question, does IORA speak to the 3 pillars of sustainable development, namely economic development, social inclusion, as well as environmental protection and sustainability? And I would say yes. Long before we adopted the SDGs at the Sustainable Development Summit of our global leadership in 2015 in New York, IORA was already focused on the sustainable development of the oceans. If you look at the 6 priority areas, they do address all 3 pillars of sustainable development comprehensively. And it was South Africa, actually, that took the proposal that the blue economy must become an integral feature of IORA. We introduced it into IORA, and it subsequently, in 2014, 2015, was adopted as a cross-cutting issue of the focus area of IORA, the 6 priority areas and our true cross-cutting issues. Now, of course, the Indian Ocean is an ocean, the 3rd largest ocean. You're aware of this fact. It's 20% of the global surface. The oceans occupy over 70% of our global surface. And it is only recently that we have recognized the great value. And it is also interesting that when we framed the SDGs, the 17 SDGs in 2015, SDG 13 speaks to climate action. SDG 14 speaks to life below water, and SDG 15 speaks to life on Earth. They are also interrelated and follow sequence. Now, if you also look at the Indian Ocean, and reference was made to the Indian Ocean as a zone of peace, and we have said it must be a zone of peace, cooperation, and development. And interestingly, it was Sri Lanka, our current chair, who in 1971 put forward a resolution to the United Nations General Assembly, co-sponsored by Tanzania, to declare the Indian Ocean as a zone of peace. UNGA Resolution 2832 was adopted in 1971, declaring the Indian Ocean as a zone of peace, including the air, the sky above and the sea surface below. And I would suggest all of you to read this resolution carefully. It's a very detailed resolution that outlines the vision for the Indian Ocean in detail, including the contested airspace now, including the scramble for seabed resources that we have today. But way back in 1971, this resolution addressed all of these, and to look at all of these within the lens of sustainability. And I say that IORA has been a champion in advancing all of the key cooperation areas. In 2006, IORA accounted for 6%, in 1997, when IORA was founded, it accounted for 6% of global GDP. According to the latest UNCTAD report of 2023, IORA accounts for just over 13% of the global GDP. So we have doubled in this 26 years. And I'm positive that over the next 25 years, by the time we celebrate the 50th anniversary of IORA, this would have doubled again, because some of your most vibrant economies in the world today and your global growth point is from Africa and Asia. This is where global growth is going to happen over the next 20, 30 years. Some of your most major emerging market economies are from this region. And IORA is an interesting mix of LDCs, of developing countries, of middle-income countries, and advanced economies. And we are all brought together as one family to learn from each other, to cooperate with each other, and to advance the common agenda of lifting the livelihoods of the majority. It comprises, the Indian Ocean region comprises of 18 Asian states, 16 African states, and 57 islands. That's a vast region, a vast area, with tremendous, tremendous potential in terms of what the ocean can offer us. But at the same time, when we speak of SDG 14, it speaks of the use of the ocean and the seas and the marine resources in a sustainable and responsible manner. And that's where we need to focus our attention on as we look towards the ocean in terms of nourishing our people and lifting them out of poverty, underdevelopment, and to a better life. Now, of course, the Indian Ocean today is also at the very center of contestation. Major power rivalry will manifest itself within the Indo-Pacific, and mainly within the Indo part of the Indo-Pacific. This has been said by many scholars and those that are predicting what would happen in terms of global contestation, conflict, and competition. What we as South Africa and the African continent need to do, we have a good template, Operation Pakisa, in terms of the domestic agenda of South Africa, but the African Union also declared the decade 2015-2025 as the decade of the ocean and the seas. We're on the tail end of that. I'm not even sure how many of us know that we have been in this decade. What have we done as the African Union in advancing the agenda under Agenda 2063 as this decade of the ocean and the seas? We also adopted the African Integrated Maritime Strategy 2050, a very detailed strategy that also speaks in detail to the blue economy. And in 2018, the African Union launched the African Union Blueprint on the Blue Economy. Now I appeal to all of us as scholars, as diplomats, and as students to look into these documents produced by us, African leaders, in terms of advancing the African agenda in terms of what the ocean has to offer. And I don't think we have given sufficient attention to all of these. It was South Africa also that put forward the idea that we develop an Indo-Pacific strategy for IORA. It was during our chairship. I'm not even sure how many of you are aware that we chaired IORA for 2 years, 2017, 2019, that we had a Secretary General for 3 years heading the organization, and that we led this organization for 3 years under the leadership of Dr. Nokwe, a diplomat from DIRCO. But I'm pleased that UNISA has taken this challenge to lift IORA, the profile of IORA, and to look at what we can do collectively here in South Africa. And I'm glad also the chair of our academic forum is here, and I hope there'll be greater collaboration between our academics to also nourish the academic forum and make it as vibrant as we can. We have such a rich resource amongst the universities of the Indian Ocean Rim countries. We need to collaborate together far more. We need to look at greater cooperation in joint projects, exchange of academics, exchange of students, and looking at the ocean and the ocean science in terms of addressing some of the current geopolitical challenges that we have. Now, IORA set out various... you must just tell me when my time is up, because I always am... You see, I haven't forgotten that I'm an academic, and academics like to talk. Very good, and rightfully so. I mean, IORA set up 2 specialized agencies, the Fisheries Support Unit, because fisheries management is one of our focus areas, and this is housed in Oman. We recognize, because some 200 million Africans get their daily protein from the ocean. That's a substantial portion of the African populace. And this fishery support unit was set up in Oman to specifically look at cooperation, looking at new sciences in terms of how we can help our fishing communities and how we better can use our fishing and marine resources in a sustainable manner. I'm not even sure how many of us are aware that we have this facility. It's a dynamic facility. We also set up the Science and Technology Research Center, which is housed in Iran. And they have programs almost every other month or second month, and very often is focused on the ocean and issues of sustainability. It's focused on marine science, it's focused on climate action and the ocean space. And I again ask you to look up this institution that has been doing sterling work in promoting sustainability within the Indian Ocean space. So we have these as our 2 specialized agencies. And again, it's not that I'm bragging and flying the flag of South Africa high. I've been perhaps too long in IORA, and I think the visionary mindset of our president has passed on to all of us. It was South Africa that also said, let's develop climate change as an integral part, a cross-cutting issue of IORA. So we introduced climate change into the IORA agenda, because today climate change and climate action cannot be ignored in terms of the impact it's having, not only on human lives, but on our planet as a whole. And earlier on you saw the video at the beginning where we looked at mangroves. That is why we created the Blue Carbon Hub, housed in Australia, the IORA Blue Carbon Hub, because mangroves are rich in carbon emissions. But if mangroves are neglected, they become major sources of greenhouse gas emissions. And that's why it's so important that our mangrove, our tidal marshes, and our sea gardens are nurtured as very important assets, global public good of all of us. And these are some of the areas where IORA is concentrated on in terms of addressing issues of sustainability. But what we have said that IORA must have a very strong developmental agenda. And under the chairship of UAE that followed South Africa's chairship, we started a process of looking at the IORA Developmental Initiative to look at where we can jointly work as member states plus our dialogue partners in addressing in a practical manner the developmental challenges that we have in all of our countries, especially within the domain of sustainability and climate action. And a number of programs now have been put in place in a collaborative manner. I mean, you need to ask yourself, why is it that you have all of the major powers as dialogue partners of IORA? France, of course, in 2020 became a member through reunion, a full member, but every P5 member is there as a dialogue partner. China is there, Russia is there, USA is there, and UK is there. And so today we have 12 dialogue partners, and you still have a number of countries wanting to knock the door. Because the dialogue partners recognize the strategic, geopolitical, geoeconomic, geosecurity nature of the Indian Ocean. Sometimes I believe we as member states don't recognize this. And yet the ocean has such vast potential. I think we have High Commissioner of Singapore here. I'm not sure if he's still here or he's left. He's left. But Singapore is a typical example of a country that have no natural resources, an island state. And yet, when Singapore became independent in 1965 as a nation state, its per capita income was $500. When it celebrated its 50th anniversary in 2015, it was $55,000, based on the ocean economy by and large and the knowledge economy. And I'm saying to all of us, we need to explore, especially us as African states, the vast potential that exists, not only for the business sector, and I'm happy that Noki is taking a business delegation to Bangladesh next week as a follow-up. Bangladesh was the previous chair, and driving the business agenda, because there's so much of potential for us in collaborating in this area. To our universities, our academics, and our students, I hope you will lift this plateau to a higher level, and I think today at UNISA we have set a new benchmark in terms of bringing IORA to the forefront. And I want to thank you for giving me this privilege to come and exchange some ideas with you here. We have a more detailed paper that's been prepared that looks at various issues of sustainability in the Indian Ocean, and I'm sure Ben will share that with you. But once again, coming to UNISA has been like coming back home, and thank you for giving me this privilege.
In true academic style, thank you, Professor Suklal, for that earnest and warm keynote address. Indeed, UNISA is a beacon of light for many, and no one is left behind. I think here as the UNISA community, we all know that in all our endeavors, be it research, community, no one is left behind. And we have now one of our very own, an NRF-rated researcher whose academic interest fields include ecotourism, sustainable tourism, and community-based tourism, Prof. Mearns. He will share his remarks on that very moving keynote address by Prof. Suklal. And I would also like to add that in UNISA not leaving anyone behind, His Excellency Professor Ambassador Abdu is also registered here at UNISA in the College of Human Sciences.
Program Director, Prof. Lenkabula, Ambassadors, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies, High Commissioners, guests, Prof. Suklal. All protocols are observed, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to reflect a little bit on the words that were said. I've been given 300 seconds, so let me go for it. I'm going to reflect on why UNISA, and a little bit of framing how we fit into this process. In reaction to the National Development Plan of 2030, the then President Jacob Zuma brought about the Pakisa program in the middle of 2014. And the goals of this program are to take the GDP of South Africa that are ocean related to 177 billion rand, as well as creating 800,000 to 1 million jobs by 2033. So these are quite novel objectives to have. This program has got 6 main objectives, 6 main areas of focus, looking at marine transportation and manufacturing, offshore oil and gas, aquaculture, marine protection, services and ocean governance, small harbors and coastline development, and coastal and marine tourism. This should happen through 2 enabling frameworks: skills development and capacity building on the one hand, and the second side is research, technology and innovation. The problem with these 6 programs are that they sit in various departments of the government. We have marine transportation sitting under transportation, we have oil and gas sitting under mineral and energy affairs, and we have aquaculture, marine and small harbors sitting under Department of Fisheries, Forestries and Environment, and we have tourism sitting under the Department of Tourism. So therein lies the challenge. So the marine transportation, if it was set up right, we are perfectly located for what is happening right now in the Red Sea. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict that has now spilled over. If we have the resources to be able to utilize all these ships that are now passing us, to be able to provide the docking space, provide the maintenance and the care that they need. The same happens for offshore oil and gas. It's estimated that by 2035, 80% of South Africa's oil and gas needs will be generated in its oceans around South Africa. Looking at aquaculture, kelp, shellfish, abalone, mussels, oysters. We were a net importer of these, and now we are a net exporter. We've moved from 5,000 tons of shellfish to 7,000 tons in 8 years, and we are now a net exporter of these. Looking at ocean governance, 30-30 by 30 means that we should conserve 30% of our ocean by 2030. And this is a novel and a really large thing to do. We have got strategic development frameworks that have now been put in place. A lot of the policy environment is now ready, but we have to get down to the 30-30. Looking at harbors, we've got more than 20 small harbors that are being upgraded as we speak. Large harbors are also going to be upgraded to be able to have this redevelopment and utilization of the small harbors and coastal development. And coastal and marine tourism, my field, is expanding and growing all the time. Is development carrying on continuously? Well, why UNISA? You know, this niche area of marine science, you know, we're sitting in Pretoria. You look at other universities, the students have to go to the university. At UNISA, it's the other way around. The university is where the students are. Our students are in South Africa, Southern Africa, East Coast of Africa, and worldwide. So our students are all over. And evidence of this, just to reflect a little bit of my own research, I've been looking at there are no borders in the ocean. There are no fences. It's one ocean. And I've looked at Ponderland and the Wild Coast marine protected areas, looking at community livelihoods relating to that, looking at shipping accidents across the coastline, blue flag beaches, green turtle breeding in the Tanzanian, Mozambican coastline, and the difficulties that we have there. We've got projects going on coral reef regeneration as a result of some of the climate problems of acidification and bleaching in the Bazaruto, Kwalarambas, and Zanzibar zones. So that's already happening. We also have got a first-time study that was done on community fishing practices in Zanzibar, which was done for the first time. We have a lot of research on sustainable tourism. I'm also involved in looking at the Zanzibar Pemba marine protected area, which will be one of the biggest protected areas on the East Coast. And this is very close. The only problem is oil and gas, but we'll get over that. And when we do these projects, we have to do it in collaboration with partners. Some of the partners I work with are like Wild Oceans, Oceans Without Borders. There's various NGOs and organizations that are prepared to help and that have got massive resources. The problem with the ocean economy or with the marine science is it's multi, inter, and transdisciplinary. It's not only science. Science in terms of agriculture, geography, life science, environmental science, nature conservation, yes. But what about economics? What about law? What about management, tourism, engineering? It's a multi, inter, transdisciplinary thing that we're trying to attack here, and we need to take that focus. Bringing it back to the continent, Agenda 2063 was mentioned. The Africa we want, leaving nobody behind. That's the aim. One of the flagships programs is the blue economy. What is this blue economy? It aims to guide the development of an inclusive and sustainable blue economy for Africa. The strategy focuses on advancing knowledge, on marine and aquatic biotechnology, environmental sustainability, and growth of an African-wide shipping industry on the rivers, seas, and lakes as well. The management of fishing activities and the exploitation of the deep-sea minerals and resources. The blue economy approach is premised into sustainable use, management and conservation of aquatic and marine ecosystems. And how does the program, the Blue Economy Program of Agenda 2063, tell us to do this? It tells us to do this by skills development and capacity building. It tells us to do this by research, technology, and innovation. And that's where UNISA brings its part, through skills development and capacity building, research, technology, and innovation. Thank you very much.
One thing that makes me a very proud UNISAN is the fact that not only does our research stay in academic sources, but it also reaches the communities and stakeholders it is meant to impact. And I think that was very evident in Prof. Mearns' response and remarks. Thank you, Prof. Mearns. I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Russian delegation from the Embassy of the Russian Federation. Welcome. We move on to our last remark from the High Commissioner of Sri Lanka. IORA is currently seated by the Sri Lankan High Commissioner as the chairperson. He is accompanied by Mr. I'll have to get the name right, please help me. Sumit Mans. And High Commissioner, it is an honor to have you here, and I welcome you up here. Thank you.
Vice Chancellor of the UNISA, Ambassador Professor Anil Shuklal, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Your Excellencies, and all dear guests. Aibawan, good afternoon to you all. It's my distinguished pleasure and honor to address you all on this occasion. Sri Lanka assumes the chairmanship of IORA at the 23rd of IORA Council of Ministers meeting, which concluded in Colombo on 11th October 2023. Sri Lanka is a founding member of IORA, which was established in 1997 and previously served as its chair from 2003 to 2004. Historically, Sri Lanka has played many important roles in international affairs. We have been a part of Bandung Conference, which paved the way for the establishment of the non-alignment movement, which we went on a lead in 1976. Thus, our foreign policy has centered on peace, stability, diversity, and inclusivity, both in region and beyond. In this slide, through IORA, we have a unique opportunity to address challenges and opportunities in the spectacular Indian Ocean. We are working on promoting regional cooperation and sustainable development by bringing together coastal nations bordering the Indian Ocean. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, yes, as Professor Shuklal mentioned, in 1971, Sri Lanka made an incredible mark on the world stage by being instrumental in passage of historical resolution in the United Nations Declaration, the Indian Ocean as its airspace and zone of peace. This resolution both transformed the vast Indian Ocean into the symbol of cooperation, understanding among the nations through multilateralism and diplomacy. Sri Lanka and its chairmanship will actively promote and accept the blue economy concept, which is one of the cross-cutting areas of the IORA, and will work towards the harnessing the opportunities in ocean-related industries such as fisheries, aquaculture, coastal tourism to stimulate economic growth and job creation. The concept of blue economy in IORA is aligned with the vision of His Excellency Ranil Wickremesinghe, the President of Sri Lanka, who has emphasized the importance of ocean economy and the need of harnessing the potentials. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, ministers of IORA members countries adopted the Colombo communique as the outcome document after their meeting in Colombo. In the Colombo communique, the ministers reaffirmed their commitment to the IORA goals and objectives to enhance the charter, in its charter. They pledged their support to Sri Lanka as the chair of IORA under the theme Strengthening Regional Architecture, Reinforcing Indian Ocean Identity. As highlighted in IORA's outlook in the Indo-Pacific, we are working on enhancing maritime safety and the security in the Indian Ocean region in the exercise of freedom of navigation and overflight in accordance with the international law, including Charter of the United Nations and 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea. Before the conclusion, yes, I was very pleased to see that mangrove cultivated video, because Sri Lanka has been recognized world flagship mangrove restoration project at the 16th session of the UN Environmental Session just 2 weeks ago. In conclusion, our success and the success of our future generation rest upon the decision we are making today. As the chair of IORA, Sri Lanka resolute and committed to these priorities, working collaboratively with our fellow member states to ensure prosperous, secure, and interconnected future for the Indian Ocean Rim. Through these collective efforts, we aim to reinforce identity of the Indian Ocean Rim and strengthening our position as the beacon of cooperation and sustainability. I thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency Acting High Commissioner Sumida Mendes. We appreciate that address. Colleagues, I know some of you who are outside of our immediate community are probably asking yourselves this catalytic niche areas, and trying to understand what it is and how it ties into UNISA. We will now show you a short video of UNISA's catalytic niche areas. This hopefully cements our partnerships going forward. Thank you.
Whatever the setbacks of the moment, nothing can stop us now. Whatever the difficulties, Africa shall be at peace. However improbable it may sound to the skeptics, Africa will prosper.
Education is the light in a dark room. It's the spark of a dream. A passport to the future. And the seed of generational change. Through education, we reflect on yesterday and define tomorrow. UNISA stands at the pinnacle of education through open distance e-learning with a footprint of students in 130 countries worldwide. Rooted in South Africa and the African continent, UNISA can truly claim to be the African university in the service of humanity. Since the founding of the university in 1873 as an examining body, we have been a trailblazer. UNISA is the first and only institution in South Africa to carry our country's name with pride and the first public university in the world to exclusively teach by means of distance education, an ever-changing dynamic university with a global reach. UNISA's history spans the entire modern history of South Africa, opening up a world of academic study opportunities to former activists and struggle heroes, thought leaders, business people, legal experts, acclaimed entertainers, and sports stars. The university takes pride in the more than 900,000 alumni making their mark in diverse fields and capacities. At UNISA, the World Wide Web is our educational playground, but we also have beautiful and impressive campuses. UNISA's Makelneek campus is located in the city of Tshwane and is a major landmark of the capital city. We encouraged our students to communicate with the university via online platforms, but you can visit the UNISA's Sunnyside campus, the perfect setting for students to engage with fellow students over a cup of inspiration. The Science Campus in Florida, Johannesburg, is designed to meet the education and research needs of students in a range of programs, including agriculture, nature conservation, consumer sciences, engineering, computing, and physics, to name a few. Students in the sciences now have access to UNISA's own laboratories, housing some of the most state-of-the-art infrastructure and laboratory equipment available. Distance learning requires that you study at your own time and in your own space, but that doesn't mean you're on your own. You can also visit a UNISA regional center to get advice, meet other students, make use of UNISA services, have conversations with counselors, and use our academic libraries. We offer an unparalleled range of study choices, ranging from short courses and certificate programs to 3- and 4-year degrees, diplomas, as well as master's and doctoral degrees, with close to 380,000 current students. Our rich tapestry of study disciplines includes the College of Accounting Sciences, Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, Economic and Management Sciences, Education, Graduate Studies, Human Sciences, Law, Science, Engineering and Technology, and the Graduate School of Business Leadership, as well as the Thabo Mbeki School of Public and International Affairs. As a comprehensive open-distance e-learning pioneer, UNISA is known for delivering well-designed, interactive study material and integrated student support. Students have access to a menu of support services ranging from face-to-face tutorials and academic literacy services to study groups and e-tutors. One of UNISA's main aims is to harness the new and emerging potential in information and communication technology, catapulting the university into a truly digital future. To this end, examinations are conducted on college-specific exam portals and are accessed from the My Exams portal. UNISA is well placed to address society's most demanding challenges by using research to meaningfully transform the lives of those in our communities. To that end, UNISA is working towards instituting the following catalytic niche areas: marine studies, aviation and aeronautical studies, automotive studies, energy studies, space study and square kilometer array, fourth industrial revolution and digitalization, natural sciences, health studies or medicine, feminist, womanist, Bosadi theorizations, and student support and co-curricular activities. As Africa's leading open-distance e-learning university, UNISA strives to keep up with the constantly evolving higher education landscape in order to serve our students to the best of our ability. We can reflect with great pride on the past 150 years of transformational education, and we are confident in our ability to succeed and become a truly high-performance university as we define tomorrow.
Amazing. Lots of opportunities there indeed. The one question that we'll always ask is, how about the youth? And the youth involvement in the IORA formation is quite important as well. So I wanted to also to hear from the youth as well. The Indian Ocean has 2/3 of the world oil shipments, and the Indian Ocean remains an important lifeline for international trade. So we've always been looking at all these tracks. So how are young people benefiting? What are the opportunities as well? And we don't want to leave the youth behind as well. So I would like this opportunity to welcome youth representation as well from Dr. Mlele. Thank you so much. Please.
Good afternoon. Program Director, thank you very much. Dean, all ambassadors and high commissioners, protocol observed. I'm Dr. Mulelu, and I come from the organization, the Western Indian Ocean Marine Science Association, which is based in Zanzibar. IORA Day emphasizes the importance of ocean science collaboration, and for the youth, it's an opportunity for them to bring forward some innovations that they've been itching to actually share, and to also bring forward, to also contribute to the ocean, to ocean biodiversity conservation, the SDGs, knowledge management, and knowledge generation. In the Wire region, postgraduate students are increasingly getting more involved in starting their own initiatives in ecosystem restoration, particularly in mangroves as well as seaweed. And there's been also an increase in seaweed farming projects within the Western Indian Ocean. They've also been using simple technologies to enhance activities for small-scale fishers, and also empowering women within the small-scale fishers, within the small-scale fishing communities. Blue carbon as well as the blue economy. Recently, the Indian Ocean Rim Academic Group has established an early career professionals network, which will be going live within, I think they said, in the second quarter of the year. This will be an opportunity to bring together more early career professionals to come together and collaborate, not just those in Africa or the Western Indian Ocean, but this is also another opportunity for them to actually work with other early career professionals in the other member states. One of the burning issues that has come up in many of the meetings that I've been with and communications with early career professionals and the youth is the lack of opportunities, skills development, and capacity development. One of the things is they would like to be involved in some of these events. They would like to get opportunities for networking as well within the Indian Ocean Rim Association. Through their research, they believe that they will be able to provide some important knowledge as well as innovation and technology that can be used. Not just that, but another thing is, what are the opportunities that are available? Not just volunteering, but they'd actually like to get more employment and more opportunities, because their life just does not end at master's or PhD level. So the youth in the Indian Ocean Rim in IORA is actually interested and would like to be part of the process. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it's an opportune time to now move to the chair of IORA Academic Group as well to address us, because I think there's a lot of conversation around the academic track as well. So we'd like to call you, Ntadeha Mulepo. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. It's the chair of South Africa's Indian Ocean Rim Academic Group. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Program directors, Ambassador Suklal, my colleague, the principal of UNISA, the host, and your staff, the deans, excellencies present here today, colleagues in academia and in the diplomatic arena, I greet you this afternoon. I was requested to speak on the Indo-Pacific construct, but I wish to brag as well. And so before I go on to speaking on the Indo-Pacific construct, as I indicated, I wish to brag a bit because as we celebrate today, we also need to be reminded that it is actually the academic group of the region that has enabled IORA to develop to where it is today. On account of the decision that was taken by the association to make the academic group the fountain of decision-making. Research that academics do in IORA is used to make decisions in the association. And we are happy that until today, there is that close collaboration between the association and especially the academic group. And I'm also willing to share, especially the commitment that South Africa has made up to now, that in as much as South Africa has led in establishing the academic group, we are still prepared to assist member states in establishing their academic groups so as to ensure that the research that takes place across the region is fed into the working and the mechanisms of IORA. You will also appreciate that the working groups that we have in the association, aligned with the priority areas, are also informed by the research that IORA does in the quest for ensuring that all the time decisions that are taken are evidence-based. And we pride ourselves, especially with how we filter outcomes of research in all the priority areas across the region, to the extent that there is no member state that is actively participating in IORA activities that is not aware of where we are going with the research agenda. And I also wish to indicate that the Early Career Professionals Network that has been highlighted here today is part of South Africa's flagship into IORA, and we are glad that there is an uptake of early career professionals in IORA, and we will ensure that even in future, the work of IORA continues, as there will be that generational relationship in as far as what we do in the association is concerned. I'm also happy to indicate that the former speaker from UNISA is a very close partner of IORA and IORA's academic group. We go far in as far as research work is concerned. An exchange of outcomes and insight is part and parcel of what we stand for. And so as we celebrate today, we are reminded of the work that we have achieved so far as the academic group, and we also continue to commit to doing what is best for the association even in future. Let me now take this opportunity to focus on what I was requested to do, which is addressing the concept of the Indo-Pacific. And the task at hand for me is to continue the conversations that have already started way in 2018 already, and we will see that there are already developments that speak to the conversations that are ongoing. Let me also use this opportunity to share the developments with the broader IORA community on the subject of the Indo-Pacific, and also share ideas in as far as how we think we can move forward in as far as the Indo-Pacific is concerned. Colleagues, we are aware of the growing interest in the Indo-Pacific and the developing concept. We also take note of the analysis that is going on, and the conversations, the strategies that we can refer to that are shared in the different platforms, and the postures that are all about these construct, the Indo-Pacific. We refer this to a construct because it's work in progress, in the same way that it was in the pre-1997 period when Nelson Mandela thought about the Indian Ocean Rim Association. And as we look forward, we need also to think about what will happen in respect of the Indo-Pacific, a region in the making that is constituted by the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. And this is part of the work that we are trying to get to moving forward. Yes, until today, there is more of reactions to the question of the Indo-Pacific. And these reactions are of concern to us. They are of concern to us because out of these, you will appreciate that they present multiple interpretations. They also present multiple representations. And as IORA, what do we make of it? As IORA academics, we need to then sit, analyze, and find ways to fit this into where we stand as the association moving forward. And I will just quickly go through some of the representations that we will often come across in as far as the Indo-Pacific is concerned. There's your Franco-German Observatory representation. There's also the Indo-Pacific strategic discourse that we are aware of, and also the ASEAN overlay and the quadrilateral security dialogue, which I refer to as that which has necessitated the responses or the reactions that we are now familiar with. And so what do we then as IORA see? For us, the Indo-Pacific is that ocean area that straddles the coastal areas of Africa from the Indian Ocean side and the coastal areas of the Pacific from the US side. And this is an area that should be inclusive. And these are the conversations that we are having in the association. As far as IORA is concerned, there are developments that we can highlight today as an indication of these conversations in academic circles that indicate the attention that should be given to the concept of the Indo-Pacific and how we should go about it. I can report at this celebration that we now have the IORA Outlook, which was adopted at the 22nd Committee of Ministers in 2022 in Bangladesh. And also we have the high-level strategic dialogue, which we had in 2023. Among other things, we also reflected on the position of Africa. And I'm saying this because these are indications of reactions. As IORA, we needed to provide a position. African states, IORA member states also needed to reflect on the position that they take in as far as the Indo-Pacific is concerned. Lastly, the IORA in Cape Town 2023 also engaged further on the concept of the Indo-Pacific and also realized the concerns that especially academics had highlighted. What is Africa's voice? What are African states saying? Do they have strategic documents? Do they have postures? Do they have visions of what these Indo-Pacific should entail? It is in that context that as a collective of academics, we are convinced that there should be individual state strategies. And our task as IORA is to ensure that we continue these conversations, encourage as many member states and their academic groups as possible to engage in these discussions, and also create, and I think Prof. Suklal indicated, the necessity that African member states especially need to heed in ensuring that there is that African voice that presents the interest of African member states in the Indo-Pacific. Already, colleagues, we need to also take into account that there are member states, dialogue partners that are far ahead of us. They've already established centers of excellence on the Indo-Pacific. Where are we? And so this then becomes a challenge for us. And I wish, especially representatives, to go back perhaps and establish whether there is that full engagement among academics on these subjects, so that as we meet as academics across the region, we can take each other along and speak with one voice on these matters. This is just beyond the normal engagement in the priority areas that we know of in IORA. And I'm saying this on the question of the Indo-Pacific because it is that region of geostrategic, geopolitical, geosecurity interest that we cannot ignore. May I, as I come to the conclusion, remind ourselves that had it not been Nelson Mandela, by the way, the former president of South Africa, we could have not been celebrating IORA today. And the association is alive, making progress in the respective areas where research is at the center of decision making. And here we are, having to contend with the prospects of an Indo-Pacific as a construct. Are we going to be left out? And I challenge academics, and I'm happy that UNISA has become part of IORA today. And with the Northwest University where I come from, we are partners now. Let us work together. Let us contribute to research in IORA that is intended to take IORA forward. Colleagues, representatives from all walks of the region, this is our IORA. This is our Indo-Pacific. We are part of it. We cannot be excluded. We cannot even allow ourselves to be excluded. Let us be part of it. Let us engage in academic discourse so that we become part of the Indo-Pacific. I thank you.
Thank you so much. I was looking at the time, and we're doing very well in terms of the time because we just going to have a brief Q&A session. I know that the inputs have been quite insightful. So I would like to, if there are any inputs from excellencies and also the guests this afternoon wants to make input on the issues raised, but also Excellency want to add in terms of what some of the programs that their countries are involved in as far as IORA is concerned. We'll be quite happy to take those from the floor. There are already people on the floor who are ready to give your mic to give your input. I think we're going to have, for the benefit of time, which we are doing very well, 10 minutes or so will be quite good to dedicate this session as well in terms of Q&A and inputs. If I can just see by a show of hand if there are already inputs from the floor. But before then, I also just want to acknowledge the presence from the Embassy of Yemen as well, who also join us as well. We're quite happy that we had that representation as well. In terms of the inputs, if I can just see by a show of hands, if there are certain issues that we have picked up that we want to expand on, and if there aren't any, because I think the presentations have been quite detailed. We should all agree that they've been quite detailed in terms of what it's about and different tracks, and it was also rewarding to get a sense of also the business opportunities as well that are in existence. And I know that if I don't see any show of hands, then I would like to request that we do the proceeding as far as the gifts are concerned. I'm told that our VC, it's our VC also included, I have a token of appreciation as well. I see that Ambassador Sukla has just stepped out, so I'm just going to get an indication whether that will be processing as well. But I do have comments from the floor which we would like to take as well. Thank you so much. All right. The mic is coming to you. Thank you.
much. My name is Moses Tongwane from the College of Accounting Sciences. In appreciation to all the presentations that have been given, I realized that the accounting profession was not brought into account into all these discussions, so I felt left out. So I just saying that in appreciation also of what the accounting profession can contribute to the space itself, looking at the valuations, looking at the audit itself. So what I'm trying to say here is that we have a lot that we have to look at in terms of from the accounting profession itself. We can even contribute from governance point of view, especially looking at how the licenses, the fishing licenses are issued in general, and looking at also the equality point of view in issuing those licenses in terms of empowering our communities in general. So in conclusion, this also gives us something to think about in the accounting profession itself. Thank you very much for the insights that we have received.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Do I see another hand? I do not see. Oh, right at the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Facilitator. My name is Kgorong. I'm one of the staff members here at UNISA. I want to thank the organizers, the DIRCO, for partnering with us, UNISA, in this very important day. I'm going to raise a number of pointers that we need to take forward so that we can make our computers, our keyboards dirty. So, the very first thing, I'm talking about the readiness to engage, whether it's IORA or Indo-Pacific. So when at high level, we are talking about political buy-in or maybe top management buy-in. I think that one we are covered. I see there's a lot of buy-in there, so we are not going to battle in that space. The second layer talks about the legal or policy readiness. So we need then to check how ready are we in terms of the policy framework to engage either IORA or Indo-Pacific. This third tier that is of interest is how ready are we in terms of funding, because all these activities, they require funding to be put on the table, either maybe from UNISA or from other partners including DIRCO. So we're going to talk about maybe a center of excellence. It's not going to be only a virtual center of excellence. It's going to be maybe a physical center of excellence, which require office space, which require other supporting infrastructure. So then we will be ready to take it at least one other, maybe fourth level of readiness, the human resources we have. So that one is not going to be a problem. So we are there, we are ready to engage, but actually there are other readiness pillars that we need to address. We need to talk about projects on the ground. Do we have projects that are running that are on the ground? Because if we can go to town, talk about IORA, talk about Indo-Pacific, but do we have projects that are there on the ground where we can document either good practices so that to learn from, it could be from other regions, then moving forward. Then maybe the other interesting one is about institutional readiness. So the institutions, do we have the institutions ready to engage with this, either IORA or Indo-Pacific?
So there are a number of readiness pillars then that we need to audit, bringing the accounting profession in, that are complaining into the picture. We need to audit in this space of engagement to say, are we ready in each of those spaces of engagement? Because when you're talking about systems thinking, you might be ready one pillar. We can have the funds, we can have the billions, but if the institutions are not there, it's not going to apply. So we really need to then look at all these readiness pillars as we engage with either Indo-Pacific or IORA. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I'm guessing that is the two contributions that we got on the floor. I would like to also urge, I know that my acting chief director for regional organizations, Bryce Middle East, will also comment on that, because I know the legal work, there's been a lot of work that has been done as well on the academia. The good thing is that after this also the engagements can continue as well with the representative from different tracks on the academia and as well. So I know that the gifts are ready, but I want to invite Mr. Ben Joubert, Acting Chief Director for Regional Organizations at Bryce Middle East and Asia, to give us the vote of thanks. And I'm told that you also later on you're going to come bearing gifts as well.
You see, for this event, they kept the high-level segment for last. Excellencies, we have now reached the end of our program, and I am very honored to deliver a vote of thanks. So let me just start off to say I would like to thank, and I also thank our hosts on behalf of the IORA team at DIRCO, Mr. Kuzwayo and his colleagues, for hosting us today. The team here at UNISA, of course, under the leadership of Professor Puleng Lenkabula, Vice Chancellor and Principal of UNISA. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the hospitality. And really, whilst I'm extending this vote of thanks, I also want to put a vote out there for having it here next year once more. That will be fantastic. To our Dean, thank you, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, His Excellency Salih Omar Abdu, Ambassador of Eritrea. Thank you for your gracing us with your presence and delivering the IORA Day remarks. Always good to count on your presence in our meetings to add the relevant level of what can I say, authority and also visibility in what we do. A word of thanks also goes to the Acting High Commissioner, our dear friend Mr. Suminda Mendes, in his capacity as IORA Chair, for speaking today. A further word of thanks, of course, to our Honourable Foreign Minister, who graced us with a video message, and likewise our Secretary General, who once was part of this diplomatic community here, Al-Farisi, Ambassador Al-Farisi, who spoke so well of not only what IORA is doing, but also South Africa's role in it. Of course, I must also thank the institutions of IORA who are with us today. Thank you once again to the SA chapters of the Business Forum and the academic group, the Indian Ocean Rim Academic Group. A special word of thanks, of course, to our keynote speaker. He has left, Prof has left to go back to Durban. Of course, tomorrow he's involved in the Durban leg of this IORA Day celebration. So just to say, we really appreciate what Prof is doing for us. From an official level, my level and the team here from head office, of course he's a true inspiration, and we shared so much in working with him, not only in IORA, but other global formations or formations of the global south. BRICS and IPSA, of course, come to mind. And you know that he has significant energy, so he's a boss. We never rest when we work with Prof. He's the type of person who will give you a day off and then call you later that day that you're enjoying yourself to say, I hope you're enjoying your day off. Can I please have this document by close of business? So I'm really afraid we cannot, in this vote of thanks, give true recognition to what Prof has done. In IORA, you know, he has also led the discussions on the high-level strategic dialogue session that happened in Mauritius last year. Lastly, also, we are doing IORA, but in IORA, we are a member state looking after a dialogue partner. So our dialogue partner is, of course, Russia, and we acknowledge the presence here today of the diplomats from the Embassy of Russia. And it is, of course, for us also an honor to have them in this event. So let me thank everyone here, attendees, for gracing us with your presence. I know it's a busy day, and I know we all have other things we also have to do once we finish here. Again, as you mentioned, Prof, as you mentioned, Vice-Chancellor, alumni of our founding father, this institution is also the alumni of President Mbeki and Ramaphosa, amongst others. And we are really grateful for hosting us today. Words cannot say enough. Lastly, this lady on my left, I don't know how her arms held and her hands held up, but please, a word of special thanks to her. I think she ensured what you called, Prof, universal accessibility, and that is, of course, extremely important. I would like to then declare this session adjourned, but before I do that, let me also allow me please to also invite you to a light lunch. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you all so much. As my co-host said earlier, we do come bearing gifts, and I would like to call upon our Principal and Vice-Chancellor, Professor Lenkabula, and Mr. Kuzwayo, as well as our Acting Executive Dean in the College of Economic and Management Sciences, to help us with giving gifts to... Oh.
You know, he delegated upwards. So I'll stand.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. May we please call the participants on the program, please, to come through and receive your gifts of appreciation. All the participants on the program this morning. Yes. 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 Dr. Mlef, thank you so much for this. Thank you so much. Yes. I was going to claim the last 4. Yeah, 100%.
No, it's within a proper threshold.
Oh, you carefully selected.
Is that yours? Yes. We'll have that.
I'm told I must keep this one, so thank you very much. Lunch is served right on your right. Please we'll start with the excellencies right at the front to go and serve. Table number 1, 2, and 3, please.
you.